And Plant 26 appears to already be underway. These photos were shared on Facebook by DeKalb Asgrow Delta Pine of eastern Texas and Oklahoma. They reported planting kicked off in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas on Wednesday. These are the first photos we've seen so far this year for corn planting getting started. Parts of North Dakota saw nearly 40-degree temperatures on Thursday, and that has farmers thinking about planting in 2026. Now, it was part of the conversation at this year's Northern Corn and Soybean Expo in Fargo, where farmers in the state planted more corn and fewer soybean acres a year ago compared to 2024. Now, it's a trend that also continued nationally as farmers put in 81 million acres of soybeans and nearly 99 million acres of corn. So, given current economics, I asked whether that acreage mix is likely to be repeated in 2026.
Right now, at least in some parts of the country, we see soybeans penciling favorably relative to corn. However, I do think there have been some policy changes that do favor corn as well. Some of the per acre planted rates that we've seen with ECAP and now the Farmer Bridge Assistance payments, those are tied to planted acres, and corn's had the higher payment rate relative to soybeans and some of the other competing crops as well. I also look at some of the changes on the crop insurance side, the increased subsidy rates up to 80% for the supplemental coverage option, the enhanced coverage option. As I talked with producers, they say, well, those are pretty favorable if you're planting corn. And so I think those help incentivize a little bit more corn acreage than what we maybe would have been seeing otherwise.
The recent bridge program payments, which basically have backfilled a lot of corn losses, a lot of expectation that a third round will be coming. And I think that this reinforces kind of a preference of farmers to plant corn.
That said, economics suggests there will be some pullback from a year ago. He's forecasting between 95 and 96 million acres of corn in 26. On soybeans, he expects around 83 million, give or take. Given the record production in 2025, demand continues to be vital, and that's why farm groups are weighing in on the U.S.-Canada-Mexico Agreement, or USMCA. That trade deal, signed during the first Trump administration back in 2018, is now slated for a mandatory review later this year. A newly announced agricultural coalition for USMCA says while it may not be perfect, it's important all three countries renew that agreement.
Since it was enacted, we have seen growth. These were already big markets for us, but we've seen growth across many agricultural products. Right now, about a third of the corn that we export is going to Mexico. About a third of the ethanol that we export is going to Canada. So these are really, there are number one markets for ethanol and corn.
And that doesn't include all of the other commodities and products. Now, the new coalition says it will be releasing an economic report on USMCA next Tuesday.
Coverage of the Northern Corn and Soybean Expo on Ag Day is brought to you by the North Dakota Corn Utilization Council and the North Dakota Soybean Council. As the world grows, we're helping plant opportunity by putting your checkoff dollars to work.